Hello everyone in the Secrets of Sleep Baby and Toddler Sleep Help Group. My name is Courtney. I am a pediatric sleep consultant. I am your host. We're here today to talk about setting up for bedtime success. Okay, so if you have a baby or a toddler who really struggles with bedtime, like fights bedtime, it's just a nightmare every night, they go to bed too late, then this is the week where we're going to talk about these things, okay? Today we're going to talk about screens, okay? So screen time, TV, iPads, computers, all those things, okay? So if you are a screen-free family, then you might not need this live today, but this is for you if you have especially a toddler. Like, I find that most of the babies I work with are probably not getting a lot of screen time, but it's important information to know for when you do have a toddler, okay? So screen time, okay? When I was growing up, my parents did things differently back in the day, okay? When my kids go to grandparents' house, they tell me how I should put my kids to sleep because they're parents and they have 4 kids and, they know the things. Doesn't matter that I specialize in pediatric sleep. They know, how to put kids to bed, and they just say, oh, Courtney, we just took the kids and we just put them in front of screens and eventually they just fell asleep. They just crashed. It's perfect. That's how you do it. It settles them down. And every time I'm like, oh, Mom. No. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a couple of factors here. One factor is that to set up really great sleep habits, we want our kids to have like a really great routine that involves them, kind of doing the motions of, whatever it is, like jammies, teeth, whatever it is before bed. Okay, we want them to get into the habit of that. We want certain things in their brain to be like, okay, we get, our jammies on and our teeth brushed. It's almost bedtime, right? We want their brains to kind of signal those. We don't want them to just be in front of the TV and eventually fall asleep because they are so tired that they crash, okay? So there's some of that. We want them to fall asleep in their beds, okay? That's really important. If you have toddlers with sleep challenges, they're waking up in the night, toddlers need to be falling asleep in their beds in order for them, when they wake up in a light point in their sleep, to wake up, look around, be like, oh yes, I am still in my bed where I fell asleep, to roll over, feel comfortable, fall back asleep, okay? So some of these things are all, aligned and in sync, okay? So screen time, right? Screen time in and of itself is very negative when it impacts our, ability to sleep, okay? For example, if children are just on screens all day long, like it means that obviously we're not getting out, we're not getting our exercise, like those things, okay? But the main culprit when it comes to screen time is definitely for that hour or two before bed. Okay, so I actually recommend no screen time for families at about 5 o'clock if bedtime is supposed to be about 7 o'clock, okay? I have people tell me all the time, my kids are not tired at 7. And then when I talk to them and I look into kind of some of the habits in the home, and it's like, well, are our children not tired at 7 because, they don't have enough sleep pressure, they haven't been awake long enough? Or is that they don't appear sleepy at 7 o'clock because we are doing things that are not allowing for their body to start production of melatonin, the hormone that makes us sleepy? Okay, so most babies and toddlers, around 7, maybe 7:30, they're tired at that point in time. They've had enough, sleep pressure. Obviously, it depends if you have a baby with a super late nap, then maybe not. But most of the time, let's say a toddler that kind of naps at noon for a couple hours, about 7:30, they've had enough for the day. They have lots of sleep pressure. It's not that. It's actually the second factor that has to do with sleep, and that's our circadian rhythm, our day and night cycle. So if we put our children in front of the screen at 5 or 6 o'clock because we're making dinner, that sort of a thing, it tells their brains it's daytime. Okay, so if you have bedtime battles at 7 o'clock when you have children looking at screens at 6 o'clock, it's because they just spent the last, however long it is, staring at a screen with their brain being told it's daytime. So my recommendation for families, most especially if you have bedtime battles, is to turn the screens off about 5 o'clock, okay? Give your kids that opportunity for their brains to know, okay, it's starting to be nighttime. You want a cool down period. Part of a cool down period I always recommend is eliminating screen time, okay? Some of the things that come up with families are like, how am I supposed to make dinner? All of those things. Sometimes like the challenge is that we're scrambling at, 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that. And the reason why we're scrambling at 5 o'clock is because we're like, okay, but I know that my toddler is going to take 3 hours to go to sleep and it's going to be this whole thing. We actually have to almost have the end goal in mind of like, what if my toddler, we started bedtime at 7 and my toddler was asleep by 7:30? If that were the case, then do I think I could make some changes to how we went about sleep, a little bit earlier in the day to set us up for success? Right? Because sometimes it's like, well, I'm trying to do laundry and dishes and cook dinner and this and that because I know that I have this terrible bedtime that's going to happen tonight. And unfortunately, sometimes we're actually like causing the bedtime challenges because we haven't kind of shifted our priorities to prioritizing like sleep hygiene is what we call it. Is kind of like setting ourselves up for success. If we prioritize sleep hygiene, our little ones go to sleep, on time, they can fall asleep, quickly, and then we have the evening where we, don't have our toddlers or our babies disturbing us when we're trying to do the laundry and dishes. We can do our food prep for the next day, those sort of things. So this is kind of one of, I think I'm going to do a series of 5 or 6 this week, different things that help us set ourselves up, set our babies and toddlers up for bedtime success, okay? So number 1, eliminating screen time before bed. All right, I hope that's helpful for you. Let me know if you have any comments, any questions. Let me know if you want support with sleep. If you have bedtime battles, post below and we can talk about those. All right, bye.